Welcome, wizards, warriors, and Wookiees, to another episode of Balrogs Blasters, where we talk about sci-fi, fantasy, and everything in between. I'm your host Patrick, and this week I'll be on my own, as Sam is busy in the real world. But fear not, I still have lots to go through today, although it'll be a much shorter episode than normal. We will begin with what I have been watching, playing, and reading this week. Then I'll do a breakdown of the latest trailers that have landed, and finally I'll go through the news this week. So ready your phasers, sharpen your swords, and let's get into it. I'm halfway through my first Halloween book of 2023, 12 Nights at Rother House by J.W. Ocker. The same premise as 1408, which is referenced in the book, where an author decides to stay in a haunted house for 13 days and document his experiences. So far it's been a bit of slow burn. I like the writing and the pop culture references, but as for the scary parts, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for that jump scare, that tingle down my spine. I should have this one completed this week, and then I can start on How to Sell a Haunted House. Yeah, I'm enjoying this so far, but it is a slow burn. On the movie side, I watched Totally Killer, the new time travel comedy horror on Amazon Prime Video. Kierna Shipka, you may remember from the recent Sabrina TV series and of course Bad Men, travels back in time 35 years to the late 80s after a serial killer reemerges. So the serial killer basically killed 3 girls in the 80s. He comes back, he chases Kierna at some stage, and she ends up traveling back in time. It's full of pop culture references again. It's very much in that genre of movies we're seeing lately, where it's taken the idea from a previous Hollywood great like Groundhog Day or Back to the Future and reimagining it and turning it into a serial killer slasher kind of flick. It was good. I mean, myself and the wife enjoyed it, so I'd recommend that for Halloween. TV has been delivering this week. Bob's Burgers returned with season 14. I'm a big fan of Bob's Burgers, but the episode fell flat for me, mainly due to the fact that the characters seem to regress a bit and have lost any of the growth that we've seen them have over the last few seasons. Season 14 is shorter one than normal, so hopefully it'll be better. But we've seen this before. There was an episode a few seasons ago, it was a Thanksgiving episode, where Louise didn't want to help Bob in the kitchen of an old folks' home. And it was the same kind of thing where I felt all the growth that we saw with Bob's Burgers, all what the kids have gone through, even though it doesn't reference back that way most of the time, it just felt lost. And what they were doing, what they were doing in this episode, felt like they've done it before, and they've done it before in a way that they should have learned their lesson. Hopefully the rest of the season will be better. The Great British Bake Off returned the previous week, but I only caught up on it this week. I'm a big fan of it, and I know in America it's quite popular, although I believe it's called the Great British Baking Show or something like that. It's still good. Quality seems to be good. Quality of the contestants seems to be much better. I know there's a little bit of dip during the COVID years, but hopefully, that's over with now, and I'm looking forward to this season. Then a guilty pleasure of mine, season 2 of Surreal Estate, the Sci-Fi Channel original about an estate agent company that deals mainly with haunted houses, has returned. This one isn't for everyone, but if you enjoy cheesy ghost stories and the kind of writing you get on Sci-Fi Channel shows, I'd recommend it. It's enjoyable. Myself and Sam have talked about it before. He hasn't watched it, but I'm trying to get him to watch it, so hopefully he'll give it a view before next time we meet up again. And then finally, the big thing this week, Loki season 2 started. This is the real highlight of the week for me. The writing, the cinematography, the overall feel of the show was great. They seem to have knocked it up a notch. There's a lot of callbacks to the original one. A lot of interesting stuff has been set up in the beginning of this, so I'm really looking forward to the season, and hopefully myself and Sam will be able to chat through it a little bit more near the end. Hopefully do a summary podcast of it at the end. And in games, well, I'm still playing Starfield. That has been put on the back burner for a little bit, as I started a new playthrough of Cyberpunk after the last patch. Full thoughts on that and the DLC will be coming the next few weeks. I still need to finish off some stuff in it. On Thursday night, Assassin's Creed Mirage landed. I treated myself to the collector's edition, which comes with a steelbook case, digital and physical versions of the art book and soundtrack, a map, and a statue. I haven't played it enough to give my thoughts on it yet, but Sam and I will definitely be discussing it in the future. You can also watch the unboxing video on our YouTube channel, where I show you what comes in the collector's edition box. In trailers, we start off with It's a Wonderful Knife. Similar to what I was saying previously about Total Killer, this continues that reimagining of classic movies such as Freaky Friday, Back to the Future, all that kind of stuff that we've been seeing a resurgence in recently, where they've taken that premise and they have flipped it on its head, where we are now dealing with a serial killer or a slasher. The main character in this stopped a serial killer, but after a few years developed what seems to be depression. Can't really tell much from the trailer, but that's the feeling I have. And wishes that she was never born. Very similar to It's a Wonderful Life. Her wish is granted, and she finds that because she wasn't allowed to stop the killer, he has continued to terrorize her hometown. And now she's going to try and save the people in her hometown, while trying to convince them that she knows them, that she's been part of their lives. And next we have Night Swim, a horror where a family moves into an old house, which, from what I can tell, has a haunted swimming pool in the back garden. I'll give it a watch, as I'm a sucker for horror movies, but not sure how good this will be based on the trailer. I'll definitely be giving it a go. Then we have Jason Statham back in The Beekeeper. This one looks nuts. Basically a revenge plot where Statham's friend kills herself after being scammed out of all her money in a phishing attack. While he is an actual beekeeper in the movie, Beekeeper is also the name of his role as a corrector of injustices or some kind of vigilante group, or I'm not 100% sure. It's all a bit crazy. We have Jeremy Irons leading a global conspiracy of these phishing sites, funneling money into governments and corporations and institutions to basically control the world. And Jason Statham is shooting his way from the entry level positions all the way up to the CEO to try and get revenge for his friend. We also got a trailer for Thanksgiving, a holiday themed slasher movie where the killer dresses as a pilgrim and uses Thanksgiving Day dinner themed murder weapons to exact his revenge on a small town. Another one where it is hard to tell the quality of it from the trailer, but I wouldn't hold out high hopes for this. I will watch it, of course. Yeah, it doesn't look great. And then we have Priscilla. Full disclosure, I don't really like true life stories or biopics, so this one I'm not too enthused about. It's about the marriage of Priscilla and Elvis Presley and how that progressed and the deep dark secrets that were involved, and it's really not for me. It's really not for me, but hopefully people out there will enjoy it. And now for the news. The Microsoft acquisition of Activision Blizzard seems to be on track to complete next week. The FCC in the US is the only body that's still fighting it. It'll be interesting to see what the landscape will look like in the future. I am a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber, and I'm hoping that there will be something exciting on the horizon once this completes, and we'll see some interesting stuff coming out of the deal. I know they've had to ship off their cloud services through a licensing deal with Ubisoft, so I want to see how that pans out as well, what that looks like. Although I don't tend to play cloud-based games. Christoph Waltz is going to be in Guillermo del Toro's upcoming Frankenstein movie alongside Andrew Garfield, Oscar Isaac, and Mia Goth. No trailer as of yet, but as soon as it's up, we'll definitely be discussing it here. Matt Shackman, who'll be directing the new Fantastic Four movie, has said that filming should start in spring of 2024. Once again, we don't have a lot of info on this one. I doubt it's going to be the Fantastic Four characters as we saw in Multiverse of Madness, but as soon as the trailer's up, that's another one we'll be talking about. Mark Hamill Luke Skywalker himself has teamed up with the US State Department to explain space in a series of videos on the State Department website. Hopefully Sam and I will have a chance to watch some of them before the next podcast and give you our thoughts. But it's an interesting take. It from what I can see, it's very similar to a Neil deGrasse Tyson kind of discussion on science. Although I think he's become a bit insufferable in recent years. So and I still like Mark Hamill, so I'll hopefully enjoy this one. A live action Cyberpunk 2077 project is in the works. Whether it's a TV series or a movie is yet to be seen, but hopefully it has the same high quality that we saw in the recent animated series Edge Runners, which was set in the same universe. Once again, we don't have a lot of info attached to this, but as we get more, we'll let you know. There is word that Netflix will be increasing its subscription price again. Once we have concrete info on this, we'll share it. But these increases keep coming. Every streaming service seems to be doing it now, bumping up the price. The promise that we had of €11.99 for all the movies that we could watch as a distant memory. I'm hoping there's some repercussions on this. I really do. They brought in the password sharing crackdown, and that seemed to only make them even more money. So I really want to see some pushback on this from consumers to say enough is enough. I understand that companies have costs that they have to cover, but everything seems to be being pushed onto the consumer at the moment, and it's just not great. And finally, the showrunner for Star Trek Below Decks isn't sure what the future of the show will be, as there are big changes coming Star Trek's way in the future. An existing slate of shows may not fit into that new worldview. This is a big basket of bummer balls for me, as I'm a huge fan of the series, and I would hate to see it go just so the studio can reboot Star Trek yet again. Well, that is it from me. As I said, this was a very quick podcast. We'll be taking a quick break next week, as there is just too much going on in our personal lives to facilitate getting a podcast together. I will be back for another solo outing on the 22nd, where I'll go through the news and I'll be telling a spooky story. Oh yes, that's to look forward to. The 29th will see us back to full strength, and we will give an update then on our Halloween books and movies, and we'll also be going through some of the stuff that we hope to be doing over the next couple of months. Thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions or comments, please send them through to us either via email, info@balrogsblasters.com, or hit us up on Instagram, where you can find us under @Balrogs Blasters. You have a spooky October, and we will talk to you soon. Bye bye.